Hello and welcome to part 3 of my looking at the supporting characters and the hidden bits of my everyday enchantment tarot. I'm just referring back to part 2 where I could not remember what number of wands this card was, which made me a complete fool, or feel like one at least, because I was thinking it was the 8 but surreptitiously counting the posts on the gate and only coming to 7, forgetting that the house soul sign is also a wand in this, and if you read the card description it will tell you so. So it was kind of me looking at it thinking it's an 8, but looking at discounting that and getting 7. So yeah, there you go. Silly me. I'm honestly not that useless that I don't know what my cards are. I promise you it was a bit like the equivalent of me having one of those moments where I'm struggling to find a word. I can find words perfectly fine when I'm not on a camera. As soon as I put a camera on I go and it was a bit like that, only trying to find the name of the card. Oh, shut up, Poppy, you're just making it worse. Anyway, moving on, but kind of not. Just going back to these two cards that we looked at, I think in part 2, possibly part 1, but I think it was part 2. Just to give an example of something that I do. Sometimes I draw connections between the cards, even if they're not sort of visibly linked or in the same suit, which they're not in this case. 4 of Cups, 8 of Swords, Blades. We have these buildings in the background, and we have the buildings in the background of this one. Now to me, when I was doing this, I was thinking, but what if that building there is one of these buildings here, which means that if she just went beyond that building, this lady went beyond that building, she would come out here on this beautiful lake and parkland on the other side, or river, lake or river. And so there is an escape for her. There is something beautiful beyond if she could just get out of her situation. So I sometimes do that sort of thing, or do it without. I did it without realising sometimes. Thought, oh yeah, that connects to that. So you're kind of creating a whole world, which is what the tarot is so very good at, and encouraged me to do. Anyway, let us move on to the 5 of Coins, where we're going to look at the people outside the window in a little bit more detail. Even though you can probably see them quite well on the cards, I just wanted to get a bit closer. So you can see the pure pathos on the child's face and the old lady. And you can also see, trying to keep steady, you can also see how it's built up, the image is built up through colour and how many different colours there are. And then you can see, which you wouldn't be able to see clearly at all on the card itself because he's very small, the man in the wheelchair, who he looks very ill actually. He's just been abandoned there and he's cold. And there's a chap in the background there who's just stood on their own in the icy cold weather. So I just thought I'd show you them a little bit closer, because I thought they were worth looking at, because they have a sort of genuine emotional charge to them, which I hope they do anyway, which obviously she's oblivious to, but we're not. We can see their pain and suffering. Oh, moving on to the 9 of Wands. I've always been very interested in this character here because she's kind of key, really. And there you can see her on the card. I just thought we'd give her a good close-up. And these videos are about the art, really, rather than the meaning. But you have to sort of include both, really, because I like the way she's looking away. She's still got a little bit of a sneer on her face, but she's looking away from the main scene of torment that's going on. She's looking away because she's realised that it's not right, and she's kind of looking literally for a way out, even though she's trying to keep her face looking like she doesn't want to provoke their wrath. So she's keeping her face looking a bit hard, but she's also looking for a way out. So I thought we'd have a look at her. There she is. You can definitely see she's thinking about something. And when I'm doing these things, sometimes little stories come to me. I thought, well, she's she's quite a plump girl, and these lads pick on any fault or flaw, so maybe she's had enough of them being tormenting her as well. Maybe she was glad for a time when they deflected their nastiness onto this poor chap, but she knows it'll come back to her eventually, so enough. She's had enough of their cruelty. She's just looking for an escape route, which hopefully she'll find. I just also wanted to focus in on these cans on the floor, tins, cans. You can clearly see what one of them is, what brand it would be. Just a little detail that you may have overlooked. Okay. Right, here we have the Four of Wands, 4 candles, which is a two Ronnies joke, 4 candles, fork handles. Yeah, anyway, lots of people won't even know what I'm talking about, so moving on. I thought we'd focus on these 2 guests back here, if my camera will do me the honour, because you can't really see them very well on the card. They are quite small. If you look and see how far back they are. So let's have a look at them and how happy they are. They're just radiating happiness and support for the couple who are celebrating, which is lovely. And this girl here too, over the shoulder, look how much they're just really happy for these people, so I thought it was important to give them a little bit of a come on, there we go. Have a look at them too. If you come right back, you can see how small they are and how small they would. This is an A4 piece. You can see how small they would be on the actual card itself. More background people. Now these were deliberately done. Sorry, this is the Queen of Cups. These were deliberately done in that kind of grey shadowy thing because they're compared to her, glowing in her kindness and compassion. They're kind of shadow people really, and they're all totally oblivious to this man and his dog. Let's have a look at them. The lady here on the far right is just looking out of frame, looking at something, completely not interested in what's going on in front of her, looking back at something else. If we go even further back beyond her, if we can, focus. The next lady along is just turned away with her arms folded, looking thoroughly bored, and the young girl next to that is just looking down at her phone. So all 3 of those people in the background are just absolutely not interested in what's going on in front of them, which is why I gave them this kind of shadowy presence. Ditto this man who's got his back to the lady and the man. He's just looking away. And then there's another lady down here looking at a phone too. So nobody in the background is paying any attention, and she's like if you compare them, she's like the shining light. And they're just drifting through life, not paying attention. I think if I did this now, it'd be even worse. It'd be everybody with earphones in, looking at their phone, and probably face masks on as well, which would make it look even more bizarre. Anyway, yes. So it's rather sad, but they're all part of the scene really, and hopefully they will. I like to think of these scenarios continuing on some level of reality. This is still happening, and I like to think of one of them turning slowly towards us and not looking away anymore. So I got very involved with these pieces, very involved. I was sort of imbuing people with personalities as I was drawing them. I mean, hopefully that you can sort of see that, even if they're very small, they have something about them. Like the second lady along that's got her arms folded, she looks thoroughly bored. Anyway, just a quick one for the 3 of Cups. 3 ladies, we can see them clearly, but in the background we have this rather lovely little fellow sitting on a chair. Just thought I'd give him his moment so we could see him a bit more clearly. There he is. Hello. Right, moving on. Now you can see these people clearly in the background of this card. This is the Knight of Cups. See, I do know the names of the cards. I just got a bit flummoxed, whatever. Yes, anyway, so I'm looking at these 2 people here because I was particularly fond of them. And they sort of, I can't get that. If I get close to them, I'm going to cut him off. It's basically, let's stay there a minute. It's basically they've got their backs to the knight who's playing his serenade on his guitar, and they've got their backs to him. They're walking away. They've completely ignored him. It's a lady in a hijab and a man with those what I would call magic trousers that sort of don't even connect with his buttocks. They're sort of underneath his buttocks. How are they staying up? I don't know. Yeah, it's always been a mystery to me that how they managed to do that. Anyway, so it's a chap with a pair of those on. I'm just very fond of those two walking. I know it's sad for him, but it's sort of funny that they've just gone tootling past and not even noticed him. Or if they have, they haven't been very interested. And beyond them, there's a lady with a bun in her hair at the back and a pair of jeans and trainers on. If I go here, you can see her, and she's walked right away. So all those people have walked past him and not noticed. I just thought I'd show you that. Just a bit of fun. Again, you can see this character on the Queen of Wands, but I just like her so much that I thought I'd give you a close-up. Now, to me, she is concentrating so hard. She looks almost terrified, really. She's playing the piece along with the rest of the orchestra that the Queen is conducting, but I think she's pretty frightened of the Queen, who is a pretty... I mean, that's why she's who she is. She's a feisty and very direct person, and if you've done something wrong, she will tell you so. And I think her face just sort of sums it up. Like, she's desperate to do it right. She is so focused and almost petrified. So let's hope she does do it right. And also, I'd like to just focus on this man taking the photograph. It's all very low-tech, old-fashioned, I suppose. And my things, he's using a proper camera to take photographs of the Queen performing. I just love the fact he looks so happy that he's got a good shot. I mean, I could move on from him and go right into the background of all these people and the little tents and the whole fireworky thing, but I just wanted to focus on them, really. They were my choice. Just a quick one here. I wonder how many people have noticed that there is a... Sorry. Let's... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of blades. The really charming chef. I love this chap's face in the background. He is so disgruntled. He just wants to leave right now. She has just done his head in totally. Above his head there is this blue bottle. It's not the most elegantly rendered flyer I've ever done, but I think it's just I'm just drawing attention to it because I think it gets lost on the card. It's so small. So there is a blue bottle, which should not be in her kitchen. No! Anyway, there is one, and that's going to cause her great annoyance, as if she wasn't annoyed enough already. Moving on again, we have the 3 of Wands, and I'm just going to focus on the buzzard and the plane, which are very, very small when you look at the actual card. So I thought I'd give you... Oh, can you actually even see those? I think that's as good as it gets. Tiny bits of detail that get lost or forgotten, and they're all important. Some more background characters here for the 6 of Wands, which is the race, the hurdling race. Now, here are some people in the background. You see the girl in the pink on the left? She's craning forward. She's got a pink-purple jacket on, and the woman next to her, who has got a very sour, grumpy expression, and the girl has got a very sort of, I don't know how you would even explain that. I'll let you work that one out for yourself, but she's craning forward, kind of eagerly, almost anxiously, not sure, but she's obviously connected to this woman here who's coming in second, wondering if she can just push it a bit further, and she can, but it's very unlikely because the woman has breasted the tape, so I think it's very unlikely that this woman is going to catch up, but she's still hoping for her. Is it her sister or a friend? Is that her mum? I don't know, but the mum, if that is who she is not happy that this is the outcome at all. She looks quite sour. There is a woman next to her with a red top on. She looks a bit like Liza Minnelli. She's looking beyond this girl, so she's obviously looking at somebody else that's running behind her. She's off and smiling slightly, and there's another couple behind them that are looking behind. So there's a story going on here too. Yes, I think that the girl in the purple is definitely looking at, I think it's her sister, and kind of, please, sorry, or hoping, or maybe she's hoping her mum's not going to be too annoyed. I don't know. Work it out for yourself. Have a think about what the scenario, the story. What's the story for them? There is a story, and they're all important. But really, it's up to you. They're your cards. Right. This is the only one that I've got the copy of now. This is the actual card itself. And you can see, compared to, you can see the difference in sizes. So that's why I'm showing you these, because you haven't got a hope of seeing how they were really constructed unless I show you the actual picture. And there she is with her passionate, didn't tell you what this card was, it's a 7 of Wands, sorry. Yes, her passionate protesting, and the chap behind her who you can hardly see at all on the other one. Let's compare him. He's half cut off anyway. He looks really kind of enraged, and she just looks full of passion. And the person in the background, I'm not sure, not quite engaged. So I thought I'd show you her and how much work has just gone into that face alone. And up here, we compare. I'm not going to do this for all the other ones, I just want to do this once. Compare sizes again for the woodpecker. So now you can see a lot more of the woodpecker detail. Otherwise you wouldn't, because he's so small and he blends in with the background quite well. So I thought I'd show you him too. I'm sorry about this faint wobbling all the time. I can't do anything about it. Just breathing, I think, is making it happen. Right, I hope that is a little bit enlightening for you to see that. Should we get closer? If I go closer, it's just no, that's the optimum distance, I think. Right, quickly, Knight of Wands, and I just wanted to focus on this bird with the branch. So he's doing something completely reckless, and the bird up here is doing something sensible, like building a nest. So the bird is using their speed and grace to do that, while he is using his speed to just be an idiot. Show off, really. So that's the comparison there. Again, I don't know whether that made it into the book, because I had to do such a tough edit that a lot of my explanations of the symbology just disappeared. So hopefully I can fill you in a bit more with these videos. Right, we have Page of Cups. I'm going to focus it on this little corner over here with the lovely dragonfly and this kind of magical garden that she's in. This urn here there are cups in this. Here is a painting cup here with the brushes in, but this urn I also was counting as a kind of a cup, really, and I think it's got really lovely colours into it. But if you look to the left, there is also a fish leaping out of a pond. Now on the actual card, that fish there, which is small enough as it is, will be absolutely tiny, so that might be the only time you've actually seen it. And it's so difficult to get fish into these cards. I wanted representatives of every aspect of our creature kin, and it was easier with some than others. I mean, there's plenty of bees and wasps and birds and so forth, but getting fish in, that was much more tricky. So that's one of the maybe two that there are. There's one in the world card as well. I just wanted you to see that dragonfly anyway. I think it's rather pretty, and the face of this little sprite is quite fun as well. Right, this is the King of Cups, but I'm not going to look at anybody in the main body of it. I'm going to look at this on the wall. Did you notice this? There is a tiny seascape that he painted because he is an artist. There is a tiny seascape that he painted of his own. Now this is one of the cards that I actually ended up reversing, so if you've got the actual deck, this will be on the other way around. I did that with some. I found them more pleasing if they were reversed. So this is one of the earlier versions where it was not reversed. I just wanted to show you that little detail. Everything was thought about, really. Could have been just a blank wall, but as he's an artist and he's a watery person, being a cup man, as it were. I love Dad. Yes, had to be a seascape. Right, I've got to finish. There'll be another video coming along shortly. Like a bus. Bye!